Making sure I got signal. How's everybody doing? This is Ray, REBELEARS.com. Um, this is actually the first live stream in, I guess, 2 months now, 3 months, and my business partner, YL, and I, we was talking about, explaining exactly what is the website. So, REBELEARS.com is, a great site for any engineers, producer, artists trying to get more in-depth when it comes to their mixing or their mastering. When you go to rebelears.com, you automatically see you can get a free ebook just by subscribing to the website, which is packed with 10 tips by my business partner YL on how to attract reoccurring clients. So I had a lot of discussions with different engineers. YL had a lot of discussions with different engineers on how they become successful. Of course, know your clients, don't doubt yourself, know your plugins and softwares. There's so many tips. That's only 3 out of the 10 tips. And it actually helped YL and I to, work at different studios, getting it booked out, not really worrying about other people being, involved in the matter. Because anytime you go to a studio, of course, you got to get in touch with whoever owns the venue, well, owns the studio, how much they charge for the room, if they book 2 hour, 4 hour blocks, 8 hour blocks, every studio is different. As long as you have that communication with them, it makes it a whole lot easier. Now, when it comes to, knowing your clients, of course, you gotta get the information, gotta get the files, gotta get, in touch with the artist, making sure they're on time, making sure you there before the artists get there. But that's just, a piece of the website itself. When you go straight to rebelears.com, you can download YL's ebook 10 easy tips to attract reoccurring clients. Um, as soon as you go to the website, you can go to the packs and freebies section. And when you go there, you're automatically going to see my ebook, 10 quick tips to be a successful audio engineer, that I created myself from experience going to SAE for audio engineering, interning at Castle Hill Studios, and being an assistant engineer for Steve Kubicki, who's a multi-platinum Grammy nominated engineer. Um, a lot of tips in there. A good tip that YL and I recently discussed on, the purpose of, you know, investing in multiple hard drives as an engineer. Not going to tell you what happened, but it costs a couple $100 to get the hard drive fixed because um, it wouldn't link up with the Mac itself. For some reason, it wouldn't. As soon as you plug it in, it said that it's reading, but it wouldn't open the file. So we had to get that fixed because he had a few $1,000s worth of sessions that he had to work on in the next 4 or 5 weeks. So that just shows you how, you gotta put money in, even if it's something that is not working or is not fixed, it helps you to, move forward. So right now, we're gonna talk about the different packs in there. So on the website in the packs and freebies section where both of YL and I ebooks are, you can download the Slime preset pack or the 420 preset pack. So both of those packs you have to pay for, but these are actual presets that we use on so many sessions, over 100 sessions, because we literally went through most of our sessions from me working with Steve Kubicki to YL working with all the different artists he worked with, from Young Thug, Wiz Khalifa, Ray Shrimmer. These are presets we actually learned from watching all these different sessions and these different tracks, because every track going to have their own plugins, or if it's going to be plugins on the aux. These are a few of over 100 sessions that we broke it down on seeing, okay, which fits better, what can help an artist or engineer to become better with their mixing, even, master, because I know some mastering engineers use plugins too. I know a few off the hand. Um, the Lycanthrope dubstep sample pack, that was the actual first pack that was free on the website, that was collaborated with Wolf Drone. So shout out to Wolf Drone. It's good to be connected with a lot of people who actually wants to help you to move forward. So when we talk about dubstep, that's like EDM, electric dance music, electronic dance music, and it was fun going to different festival, Building Stages, Imagine Festival. I never got to go to Tomorrow World. That's what I wanted to go to, but there's like a different feel when you hear the music there. And that's one reason that I wanted to create this sample pack, well, this dubstep sample pack for producers. And then one thing that I'm proud that YL and I worked on, because we were thinking about it for a minute, how we're gonna get this, um, how we're gonna help engineers, how we're gonna help producers, how we're gonna help artists to start off. Because of course you can buy the pack, the preset pack, and you really don't know how to start it off. So we actually put a stock mix template for free on the website. Yes. So the stock mix template is basically, as soon as you open Pro Tools, you don't even have to open Pro Tools. You can go straight into the stock mix template folder and click on the Pro Tools session template, and it'll open up a fresh session for you to mix. It's not basically for recording. You can use it for recording, but this is when you have, everything mapped out. It has the drums, it has the instrument. The drums and instruments are lined up with the productions. You have your vocal one, vocal two, hook. You have all that together, so it makes it easier. So you don't have to look around like, okay, where I got to send this to. We got every bus mapped out to make it easier for you to, start your session. So that's a few things that's on the website when it comes to the packs and freebies section, which is one of my favorites. Now, when we talking about the blogs, I'm going to the blog section. The last blog we had control surfaces and consoles in audio production. So basically, that's different. Control surface. So good example. This is one of mine. This is a favorite of mine. This is the Avid Artist Mix. Get a good image. There we go. So the Avid Artist Mix is by Avid, which is, the company that, owns Pro Tools. And it's very convenient because it has 8 faders, and you can make it into a 16 channel by using the nudge on the left and right. Um, you can work on EQ compression. You can work on your mix straight off the fader itself, so you don't really have to be with the mouse. It's like hands on, which I really like. So that was the blog that we recently posted. That's what that's about right there. A few of the blogs, you know, auto tune, improving music production, and key commands. Key commands is one of my favorites because it makes the session so much easier, especially when you're working with different artists and you're trying to figure out, okay, this artist want me to punch in. As soon as they stop, they want to keep going. With me, YL and I, we work differently. With YL, I think his is the space bar. I never had that set up because as soon as I push the space bar, it just played the record. But YL have it set up any studio he go to that anytime he push space bar, it'll record. So he could press space bar once, it'll stop. He goes straight back to where the artist wants to go ahead and punch in at, push space bar. With me, I use a numeric keypad. So I just had to push 3 on Pro Tools and it records. And I could push 0 to stop it. I try to remember because I changed my key commands recently so I can be more um quicker, because you can change some of your key commands, which I don't recommend because there's like a huge, huge book on Pro Tools because every piece, every key on your keyboard is a key command. Some of them could be Command A, Command Shift A, Command Option A by itself. It's a lot when it comes to the key command, but it's very beneficial to be quicker with any session you go to. Okay, so this is a favorite of mine. This came out January 7th of this year. Understanding presets and templates. So when it comes to the presets and templates, like I was saying, from the packs and freebie section, we got preset packs, we got a template mix, a stock mix template that's for free. It actually breaks down the purpose, why you want to have presets, why you want to use a template. It makes the session so much quicker. And then an interview with Tony Maserati, a Grammy Award winning engineer. He was talking about how a lot of time when he opened up a session, when he's in the studio, he goes through different presets and different plugins. So good example, he used Waves plugins. I use Waves plugin. It's a favorite of mine. Sometimes you could just go straight open the way, let's say the H compressor. You can open that plugin and look at different presets that you can use to tighten the vocals, make the vocals sound fatter, loose. It's a lot of different options, but that's the purpose of presets to help you narrow down the sound that you want instead of just, you might have, like an artist with writer's block, so they need some inspiration. Presets can help you with finding your inspiration when you mix in the artist. So that is very beneficial. And then the template, it just opened up the session a whole lot quicker. Building the vocal chain, that's another favorite. We got a lot of different blogs on here that are favorites of mine. Now, a vocal chain, of course, we had a discussion in past podcasts. Okay, just letting you know when it comes to the podcast, you can go to any streaming sites and look up Rebel Ears podcast. Listen to our recent one, which I think is episode 37 or 38 by the time this comes out. But what we're gonna do starting Saturday, this Saturday, we're gonna start putting out. We're gonna call it Throwback Saturday. YL and I came up with that. We're gonna go with it. So every Saturday, we're gonna go ahead and put out an episode of each podcast. So episode one of the podcast is going to come out with I guess it was the introduction to it was either three things. It was either the introduction to the podcast, an introduction to me. Well, it could be four things. Introduction to the podcast, introduction to Rebel Ears, introduction of me, or introduction of the website, rebelears.com. It's been a minute since I listened to the first episode because the first episode came out in 2019. But that's what's going to be happening every Saturday. We're going to have a throwback Saturday of all the past podcasts, so you can catch up on YouTube or any. It might be on Twitch too. Who knows? We'll see how we're going to get that together. So let me go back to building a vocal chain. So building a vocal chain, we talked about it, like I said in the past podcast, is basically making it easy for you to be able to work on you know, creating the sound for the artist. I remember YL was talking about when he was at Hot Beats, he had, I think, 3 sessions before he figured out the vocal chain of the artist because every studio should have, depending on the studio you go to, you might have it set up with every studio I go to, it's always the Need 1073 with the Tube Tech CL1B, and that's a vocal chain with the EQ and the compressor. But when it comes to the sound, you want to mess with the knobs, see what works, what doesn't work, seeing what makes the artist sound great. And of course, it takes time, but when it takes time, it's worth it because soon as you get the sound, every session you have from there on out, any studio you go to, you can be like, okay, they got a Neve 1073. Okay, they got a CL1B. You already know how to set that up. And it makes it a whole lot more easier and convenient. So those are a few of the blogs. We got so many blogs. We got 2 pages of blogs on the website at rebelears.com. Now, when it comes to the podcast, what I was talking about earlier, okay, so episode 37 was the last one. We was talking about studio flow. What YL and I was at the studio for, I think, 4 or 5 hours with the artist, and we were just going over, you know, the vibe of the session, how to make sure that it works out, dealing with different engineers, well, not engineers, but different artists, how you work with different opinions in the room, especially when it's a session when there's so many different producers, artists, even the artist friends who have their own opinion on things. It's how you balance it all out, making sure that even if you have a conversation with one of the clients, you're still on point when it comes to the mixing and recording. That's one thing we was talking about. Episode 36 was the process of performance. So any venue you're performing at, um, a few things that you should look out for to be successful to help you out anytime you recording, well, not recording, anytime you performing, or if you interacting with the DJ, the host, the promoter, the venue owner, the bartender. There's so many people to interact with, but a lot of people just think, you just go there, perform, and you head out. No, there's steps to make sure that you're successful, especially if it's helping your face card. So the next time they have an event or if it's at another venue, they already know to book you because you have that communication skill when it works with different, people of the venue just to map out what needs to be done. Um, okay, episode 35 was post production, key commands, and YL's ebook, 10 easy tips to attract reoccurring clients. a favorite book of mine. I read it. I live by it. YL live by it more than I do because every time I hit him up, "Hey YL, what's up?" Oh, I'm in the studio right now at Hot Beats or Castle Hill Studios or the other studios he go to. So it's good to know that, a lot of people talk about living by, their word. We're living by our ebooks. Um, so many episodes of the podcast, printing, branding, routing, SSL 400G plus. That's outboard gear. No, not outboard gear. That's a mixing console, a huge console. It was 64 channels, if I'm correct. Troubleshooting, attenuate, self-investment, self-worth. Mm, so many. Last day of 2020, that's when YL and I were just talking about things we was gonna do for 2021, letting a lot of people know what we are gonna get involved with. And it's just fun knowing that the work that YL and I put in is actually working in our behalf. And it makes it so much easier knowing that we're staying on point. And it just helps knowing for a fact that everything you're doing is mapping out to your future. So YL and I already talked about every hmm, I had a list because what I do every night before I go to bed, I write a I write at least 25 things that I need to do for the next day. And out of those 25 things, I try to accomplish five. So good example with today, do the live stream, 3 o'clock, make a banner for it, promote it on different sites. Mm, there was something else too when it comes to the live stream. Oh, give y'all information about the website, what is rebelears.com, how it's beneficial. And before I forget, because I know with a lot of websites, they have their mission statement, what they're about. Our mission is basically to help engineers and artists get their full potential out of their mix so they can feel confident whenever they bring it up to a client or A&R, CEO. You never know who you got let listen. You never know who you got to let listen to your music. So it's good to go ahead and get the best quality that you can with our experience. And then we also have a statement, refuse to sound ordinary. So refusing to sound ordinary is basically meaning that, we want to think outside the box, use different plugins that like you normally don't use in a session. But that's the thing about music. It's all about the creativity, the time you spend mixing or the time you spend in a session with an artist. It's all organic and you don't want to put yourself in a category that sounds like everybody else. Sometimes you got to put a reverb and delay on a guitar or the vocals. I want to put it straight on the track itself, but depending on the artist's opinion, because a lot of artists that I do know, they know exactly what they like. They have that sound. And depending on who you're working with, they already know the specific plugins that you got to use, which I would recommend investing in different plugins, especially if you are an engineer that is taking this, you know, professionally, long term. Invest in yourself because when you invest in yourself, it makes everything a whole lot easier when it comes to recording, mixing, mastering, all the above. Um, Another thing I do want to talk about because YL and I talked about, if I'm correct, is going to be every second and fourth, no, every first and third Wednesday. I'm gonna be doing the live stream, but I'm gonna be doing live stream with different guests. So it's not gonna be um this Wednesday because of course this is the first one just to introduce what is rebelears.com and then also what are we offering? So that's one thing we're going to be doing. The next live stream is going to have the banner. It's going to have a lot of other different things. It's just an introduction on what's going to be happening. So every first and third Wednesday, I'm gonna be doing a live stream interviewing people. But every second and fourth Wednesday is still going to be a basic live stream. I'm gonna be on here talking about different topics. Going to be interacting with people. Going to be talking about different questions a lot of people bring up to me. Another thing that I'm going to be doing, if I'm correct, is every second and fourth Thursday, we're going to be having a podcast out on Rebel Ears podcast on any streaming site when you want to listen to, you know, your music or your podcast. We got that already implemented. So, check us out. And then every Saturday, we're going to be having the throwback podcast, throwback Saturday of the podcast. So this Saturday will be episode one. And matter of fact, while I'm on here with y'all, might as well get the right information because I remember I said episode one was basically going to be um, either the website or the podcast or me. So the first episode, who is Ray Rebel Ears? Being an intern, being an engineer. Okay, so it was an introduction of me from when I was interning at Castle Hill Studios, from interning there, how I became a better engineer and booking my own sessions. And, it all worked out because as you can see, it all worked to create rebelears.com, the community. And YL just want to say thank you for all who's watching the YouTube stream right now. And don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, anything you want to ask me. I'm here to help any engineer, artist, producer to take their mix to the next level. So from everybody at Rebel Ears, thank you for watching. Keep tuning in.